Tropical storm Nicholas has developed in the western Gulf of Mexico. Hello, good Sunday afternoon. I'm Mike Naso here with the latest YouTube tropical video update. We no longer have to deal with Larry, which slammed into areas of Newfoundland. We no longer have to deal with Mindy, which drenched the Florida Panhandle. We do have to deal with Nicholas here in the western Gulf of Mexico, looking a bit better organized as a low-end tropical storm here, forecast to make landfall in Texas and affect the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast. We have a tropical wave interacting with this troughiness here north of the Greater Antilles. This should move northwest and is a moderate chance of development. We have this curlicue out here, shouldn't do anything. We have a system off northeast of the Azores expected to impact Portugal. That's a low chance for development. This tropical wave, a very low chance, but then one that's leaving Africa, a higher chance to become something as it moves west. Just a lot to talk about in the tropics. September 12th, right in the heart of the hurricane season, right on time. Here's the latest as of 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern on Nicholas. Nicholas was at 21.7 north, 95.5 west, winds of 40. So it's a minimal tropical storm, but it is moving north-northwest at 15. This motion around the ridge of high pressure is expected to continue and bring it very close to the coast or make landfall sometime Monday night or early Tuesday as a stronger tropical storm. We don't think a hurricane yet. And then after that, it's going to be trapped between two ridges and kind of have weak steering currents. And so it's just going to kind of mill around from Tuesday all the way to Friday over extreme eastern Texas, and you know what that means, the threat of dangerous flooding rains. Now, we do have a tropical storm warning in effect from the mouth of the Rio Grande to Port Aransas, Texas, and from Barra el Mezquital to the U.S.-Mexico border. We also have a tropical storm watch from north of Port Aransas to High Island, Texas. And again, we could see eventually hurricane watches if this system organizes faster than we think. We have a storm surge watch from the mouth of the Rio Grande to High Island with the expectation of surge from that water rise. Now, here's the visible satellite imagery of Nicholas. You can see the center developing in this area here. And it still is getting sheared, but that's almost creating a more ominous look here for the northwest Gulf Coast as it's starting to encompass a large area, nevertheless getting a bit better organized. Here's the computer models. These are the European ensembles that bring Nick right on up, paralleling the South Texas coast and then inland. And then you have the GFS models. Some of them are a little bit further to the east here. Remember, we don't want the system to get too close to Louisiana because even if it's not a hurricane, you could get the right side of those wet rains and have a lot of damaging flooding for areas still reeling from devastating Hurricane Ida. Here's a better look at a far range look at the models. You could see generally right around the ridge and then kind of just milling around up here. And so it's not so much the intensity of the winds as the potential for the rainfall that's bothering us right now. This is the H-Wharf model continuing to show it becoming a hurricane before making landfall in the general area around Port Aransas, Rockport, and that would be a Category 1 hurricane, maybe even a Category 2 with a low pressure, and that would be sometime on Tuesday. The HMON model bringing it ashore much further to the north, more towards the Galveston-Houston area, much weaker, thankfully, a tropical storm, but look at all this heavy rainfall on the simulated radar imagery headed towards areas there not only of Texas, but also of Louisiana as a lopsided tropical storm. So the threat there would be rain. Now, as of right now, the forecast calls for up to 10 inches of rain, perhaps, offshore Corpus all the way to Lake Charles and areas there near New Iberia. You guys are in the heaviest threat, but as the system slides to the north, we'll see this rainfall forecast move to the north as well, and we'll see an increase in the flood threat. You can see there is an excessive rainfall outlook here down in Texas and Louisiana. This will continue to pull to the north, and so we'll watch it very, very carefully with the threat of flooding rains. Right now, the radar out of Brownsville, you can see some of the rain headed in. Right there near the Rio Grande, areas of Padre Island, you guys are going to have a wet afternoon. Houston, not yet, but look at this offshore. Very stormy weather. Definitely a bad time to bring any kind of boats and craft out into the water. You'd want to get them in before these squall lines start coming into you. The storm surge, as mentioned, the storm surge watch from the Rio Grande to High Island. and this whole area 2 to 4 feet perhaps right now of onshore flow as the system drags along the Texas coast. So again, Corpus Christi Bay, Aransas Bay, Matagorda Bay, Galveston Bay, you guys all at risk of a potential storm surge from this system. The wind shear, if it was underneath this area here, it'd have a much better environment. However, it should be a little bit more favorable as moderate wind shear. It looks a little higher on this graphic. So it should be able to develop at least gradually. The bigger concern I have are these sea surface temperatures. Look at how cool, I mean, remember, it's still hot water, 80 plus degrees. But in the anomalies, look at how cool from Ida and Mindy up here. And even, I believe this is still a little bit from Hurricane Grace, when Grace moved on over the Yucatan, and we had this system that became Nicholas suck a lot of that water up. But look at this hot water, this pool of hot water that has been untouched. Remember, Grace went to the south and Ida went to the north. Nothing has touched this hot water yet. So as far as the water for Nicholas, very, very warm if it takes that track right along the Texas coastline. The key messages as of 10 a.m., tropical storm conditions expected along the northeast coast of Mexico and the South Texas area Monday. Is forecast to approach Middle Texas as a strong tropical storm Tuesday, and you could have those conditions along portions of the mid and upper Texas coast late Monday into Tuesday. Number 2, the possibility of life-threatening surge from Texas from the mouth of the Rio Grande to High Island. Listen to local officials for any advice in that area. Number 3, and this is most important, heavy rainfall is expected to impact areas of the Texas and Louisiana coast today through the middle of the week. Significant rainfall potential and devastating flooding potential for flash urban and isolated flooding. Significant rainfall later on in areas of the middle of the week. So again, if you're in Louisiana and Texas right now, prepare for a lot of wet weather. And if you're in low-lying areas, prepare for the potential for flooding. There's the Spanish for our Mexican viewers there. Now, other than Nicholas, I mentioned this area that's going to develop with that tropical wave interacting with the trough north of the Bahamas. Watch it if you're in the Carolinas because it should move northwest. Our area near Portugal is low. That wave near the Cape Verde is low. However, this wave that's expected to leave Africa could really do something. The European makes it a hurricane. The ensembles make it a strong hurricane. The only possible good news is that it could turn, but it looks like it might make it much further west than Larry, and Larry made it all the way to Bermuda and Newfoundland. So we're going to watch it very carefully. You can see there's that wave north of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola interacting. It's an upper low, but as it interacts, this wave in the trough, we could get some kind of mess developing there. And off Africa, you can't see it too well, but this wave here is the one that the models really, really like. And if you actually look at these ensemble tracks, you can see we have Nicholas strike Texas and move on up slowly, and then a very long track system becoming very powerful down here, taking a track something like that. So again, Bermuda and the eastern seaboard would want to watch and hope that ridging doesn't build back in and we have something pushing back west. You never know in that long-term circumstance. So that's going to do it for our tropical storm Nicholas right now. The main threat, heavy rain. Watch it organize there in the western Gulf of Mexico. We'll keep an eye on it here with the video updates as well. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Nicholas, and I'll talk to you next time.